good to see you. Good. Good to see you. You're welcome. So once again, Mr. Elias, you're welcome. Madam Favor, you're welcome. Sister Madeshala, you're welcome. Sister Madeshala, it feels weird calling you sister. You know when you have a friend. And this is not see finish. No. I can never see you finish. It's just because I love you. All right, so let's get into it. So once again, you're welcome to effective communication with your teenagers, with your Gen Z, your young adults, depending on who you are. So if you're an entrepreneur, a CEO, an HR manager, wherever you are, or you're a parent that you have a teenager, right? And you manage teenagers, or basically people between the age of 9 to 26. I want to say welcome. And I want to applaud you that you are one of the very, very, very few intentional parents, teens, mentors, educator, depending on where you fall into this category. I want to say thank you so much for taking out your time. It is 9:41 p.m. in Abuja, Nigeria. And please, if you can, let's stay muted to reduce distraction because we are basically live on YouTube, and I'm going to be sharing the replay from the YouTube. So if you're not speaking, kindly stay muted, and I will be starting my presentation from scratch. Yes, last week we hosted Mr. Nnamdi Oboli, who shared on effective communication with your spouse. And I'm muting you, not because I don't want you to talk. You can unmute when you're ready to speak, ask questions, make contribution, and all of that. And I introduced this topic last week. However, due to the time constraint, a lot of questions, it was so engaging. And if you missed it last week, I will share the recording with every registered participant. I apologize, I didn't share it. I had food poisoning episode again. Bad, my bad. I think my stomach is rejecting any food that is not made in my home, and I will align. All right, so let's get into it. So it's going to be very engaging. As you know, I am a coach. Even though, yes, I'm a trainer, but I wear my hat of a coach virtually all the time. And so who am I, and why should you even listen to me on this topic, effective communication with young adults and maybe Gen Z, maybe you call them teenagers. I am an author of 4 books, of which my 2 of my 4 books are basically on mental health, family life. The other 2 are on life generally. So you can call me a life coach as well as a family life coach, pardon me. Now, I am a certified master marriage mentor from the United States of America. I am a professional coach, therapist, and counselor. I was trained by the United Nations in 2015. That was when I actively started working with young adults. And so I work with parents, religious organizations, NGOs, everyone working with the schools, tertiary institutions, secondary schools, basically to work with young adults. Now, I was trained as a United Nations life skills trainer, and the amazing part of my journey is that my final assessment was on communication. And of all of us that were trained in that particular state, I emerged with 2 awards, Meritorious Award and Most Influential Peer Education Trainer. So I teach life skills, also because I am a licensed HR practitioner. The CIPM Nigeria, I'm the Assistant General Secretary. But before I became, I was on that role in Lagos as well as here in Abuja. And I was an employability skills trainer in CIPM Nigeria. And next, I'm also a United Nations gender advocate and women economic empowerment principal trainer. I am an on-air personality, so you can, if you Google Greatness Olorunfemi, you would see some of my engagement on some TV and some media platforms. I've also been privileged to make a film at Ebony Life Creative Academy, where I emerged as one of the best producer. I'm a certified business development associate from the Enterprise Development Center. That's Pan Atlantic University. And I'll end by just saying that I'm also a member of the Toastmasters International, which is arguably the global body for public speaking. And so that's me in a nutshell. Now, I will start from where I started last week. So, Mr. Elias, since you have teenagers, do you mind sharing, and Favor would also share, some challenges you have faced in communicating with your children, teenagers, young adults, depending on where they are?
Well, basically, my family don't reside with me. I moved to Abuja 8 years ago. So normally I do travel to go and see them on weekends.
Okay.
So I've not had such time to really sit down and discuss on issues that maybe we had problems emanating. What I'm trying to say is the little time I create to stay with them, it has been worthwhile. I have not actually had any cause to say that the children are not. But what I do, truly speaking, with the help of my spouse, I've trained them in such a way that I give them Christianity first. I give them religion first. And I also do encourage them. We pray together. And I think that has really been helping me quite a lot. But my wife is doing the greater work. She's doing the greater work. So when I saw this advert, yes, I said I was going to key into it because I need to learn more from it. And then very soon I know that I will be retiring to leave the public service. So I will need to have more time with my kids. So that is why I said, okay, I'm going to key into this today and be part of it to learn so that I will prepare myself very, very well.
Amazing. I just love you already, sir. Well done. I mean, you're so intentional and your children are so lucky to have you. So when I teach these things, because for me, it came from, it's more of a calling than just work. I feel your calling work should be your calling, actually. That's my own stuff, right? But anyone that has read my book, this book, Rescued by Love, Why I Cancelled My Wedding. It's a true life story. I cancelled my wedding 7 days to the event, but I had to take people on the journey of how I was raised. That I didn't just say yes, settle in an abusive relationship. It was because of how I was programmed, right? And I remember at the age of by the time I was a teenager, let me just use that. It got to a point that I became suicidal as a teenager. It got to a point that I wanted to commit suicide. I wanted to be an hired assassin. And when I engage teenagers and they share the challenges with me, I can connect with them, relate with them. I can be that middle ground between the parents, the NGOs, the religious organizations, and the teenager, because I understand also where the parents are coming from. To be honest, it's not be a parent in this generation. There are a lot of challenges that you didn't have to deal with in your own time, and they are dealing with now. Social media was prevalent your own time, right? And so there are a lot of things. But let's now bring it home. Favor, Miss Favor, do you mind sharing? You work with teenagers, so do you mind sharing from a place of an educator? What are the challenges that you face with these teenagers? Favor, are you there? Hello, Miss Favor.
Hello. Yeah. But
Do you want to turn on so that I can add you to the spotlight?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Can you hear me, ma?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Hello? Okay,
I can hear
work
you.
with teenagers in church. And okay, I said I work with teenagers in church. And most times the problem I face is short attention span.
It's not on. Do you want to?
Hello?
I just wanted to. Are you turning on your video so that I know?
Okay, no, I'm not turning on my video.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I said the challenge I face with them is short attention span. Like maybe when you're talking to them at times, they don't give you their full attention. They always want to go back to their phone. Like, I don't know what is in that phone. They're always trying to go back to their phone, deal with their phone all day. And another thing is they think they know it all. Like they think they've seen it all. And at times I'm like looking at them, like these people, you guys, you've not gone anywhere. Like you've not even gone half. And but they feel they know it all. When you're not talking to them, they feel like, you don't understand. You are old school. Like so that's the major challenge I face with them.
Remember, I said last week as one of the challenges that we will face with them, in this generation. So go ahead. So they're always on their phones. They feel that you cannot connect with them because they feel you're old school. What else?
That's the major issue.
Okay. So answers tonight. You're welcome, Madam. We call her Exceptional Ekwase. You're welcome, ma. Good to see you. Do you want to turn on your video? I don't think you have any challenges dealing with teenagers because I know that we basically I'm your junior colleague. That's where I will call it. So you have the hands-on skill already. So basically we're just sharing on challenges that parents, educators, teens mentor face with relating with teenagers. Do you want to say one or two things before we continue with the slides?
Thank you so much, Coach. Greatness, and good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm so sorry I'm not in a position now to put on my video. Please excuse me. One of the challenges, they feel we don't understand them. And one of the challenges that we have parenting them is that we really don't have a family structure. Let me yield the mic at this point.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That was short and brief, deep and brief, the way they say it in Gemstone. Okay, I hear you and I totally agree, and we'll get there as to why. So basically, what is communication? And I don't mind if someone can unmute or drop in the comment section what you think communication is. Just one person, anyone can unmute. So I'm going to be sharing what communication is. I'll be sharing what communication is not. I'll be sharing what makes communication effective with this amazing generation. Please just give me a moment. I'm trying to spotlight myself. Yeah. So what is communication? Does anybody want to share? Okay, because of time, I want to finish tonight. So I will start by first of all saying what communication is not. And I said last week, and just to reiterate, that communication is not what comes out of your mouth. It's not just what you say. Communication is what happens in the other person's mind. It is actually how the other person interprets what you say, and not just the actual words that you use. And so you're responsible for actually ensuring that that person gets the intention of what you said. Do you understand? Beyond what you just say. So communication, as I said, is not just what you say. It is actually what happens in the mind of the person that you're speaking with. The key to effective communication is basically producing a shift, a shift for the other person, whether it is a shift in their focus. So, for example, if you're speaking to them and they're on their phone, so communicating is actually creating that shift in their focus to say, can I have your attention? That is communication. You have not communicated if you are complaining. I shared something tonight to say that everyone who cannot communicate effectively thinks or assumes every conversation as an argument. And so when you want to communicate effectively, you're saying that is my goal to communicate a shift in their awareness, to let them know that, oh, there's a reason for you to be present when you're speaking. The next is a shift in understanding. Yes, they feel they know it all. Yes, they feel they're in that age bracket where they feel that, no, you don't understand. And I will get us to that point as to why we are not engaging them, right? It is critical to remember, therefore, that when we are speaking, they are not hearing what we're saying, really. They are not. So there is a way by which you take a step further to now say that, wait, every day, in every way, there's a place in my slide we'll get to shortly that I said, we are always communicating, whether you are aware of it or you're not. So even when you think that you're busy doing some things, your child is looking at you and is observing you. Your teenager is looking at you and is observing you. That young adult, that student, they're looking at you and they're observing you. When you're not physically present, they are observing, oh, how are you keeping in touch with them and all of that? And I'm sure that it has even happened to you before that maybe you had a mentor or a parent or someone that you respect so much that even their silence is communicating to you, right? And so it is easier to keep conversation with them so light so that we can move on to the next thing. It is easier to actually forget to intentionally communicate to this generation because there's somewhat like a disconnect in the gap, in the generation gap. So they won't tell you this, but they really, as much as they give you that vibe of I don't need you, they really want you to probe into their inner life to know what they're thinking and what they're feeling. And I'm going to share a video very short. When the upcoming generation, they actually enjoy people that are very concerned about how they feel, about what they're thinking. Now, the older generation are used to people not paying attention to how they feel. The older generation are, basically they don't really, they are used to people not even paying attention to how they feel, what they are thinking. They are used to the autocratic leadership of do this, do that. And most of our older generation, they don't even ask why. But this upcoming generation is different. They actually want you to ask them what they're thinking, even when you're giving them instruction. As much as you are the parent, you are the educator, you are the team's mentor, you are the HR manager, you are the CEO, you are whatever it is you are, right? I want you to know that they actually want you to probe. They want you to dig deeper to know that you really deeply care about them. So when you're talking, engage them to say, what are you thinking? How are you feeling? They will intuitively sense that you understand them. They want you to understand. I'm going to share the video very, very shortly, right? Because you took time and energy to really care. It takes time and energy to really, really care for this upcoming generation. They are not like the regular generation that basically they don't care, they just leave you. And you and I have learned to adapt and to just say, okay, I'll figure it out on my own and I'm going to survive on my own, right? And so types of communication, basically, I mentioned this last week that we have non-verbal and we have verbal. And I said that verbal communication only takes 7% out of 100% communication. So the way you communicate in terms of the voice pitch, your tone, the words that you use, your dialect, the words that your child can understand only carry 7%. The 93% bulk is actually in the non-verbal communication, which has to do with your intentional, your unintentional body language, your facial expression, your eye contact. You can see I'm looking at the camera to, maintain eye contact with you, maintaining that personal space with them to let them know that, see, you have me in your space anytime, every time. The hand gesture that they know that, oh, yes, what you're saying with your words align with what you're saying with your body. Because when there's a disconnect, you think you're forming, but we know. And the next is physical touch. These children want you to touch them. They want you to hug them. Every child wants the 5 or the 6 love languages. Trust me, I understand that some of us were not raised to be feelers, to be kinesthetic communicator, where you basically, are held in that warmth embrace to say, I genuinely care about you, but you cannot afford to raise the upcoming generation the way you and I were raised. So communication basically then is presence, is perception, is responsive, is body language, is thought, is feelings, is voice, speech, tonality, cognizance, and span. And so when you are rushing, you're trying to just rush and just say something, they know that you're not giving them your full attention. When you're on your phone and you're talking to them, they feel that I don't have your full attention. Let me just leave you. So why do we really communicate? I said this last week that if you want to terminate a relationship, just stop communicating. If you want to end a relationship, whether it's with your teenager, or it's with your boss, or it's with your girlfriend, or it's with your wife, or it's with your friend, or it's with your whatever it is, whoever it is, communication to a relationship is like oxygen. Without it, there is no life in that relationship. And what happens when there is no life? Death is inevitable. So it is essential. Communication is essential to the growth and the development of every relationship. And I'm sure that you love these teenagers. That's why you took out your time tonight to be here. That's why you're watching this replay, just in case you're not live here and you are catching up with the replay, right? And the next reason why we communicate is basically to reinforce a sense of worth and value. We enhance communication. We communicate because we want to enhance communication and interaction, to build that interpersonal skill, that relationship, with your younger generation. So how do you develop good communication with this upcoming generation? Time. And time is not in the length of it, but in the quality of it. When you are with them, I said this last week, that practice what I call the no screen policy. If your phone is like this, and even though it's on silent, it's blinking, you can always see your calls. But no screen policy is like when it's like this. Can you see? Can you see the way I'm doing it? Such that when I'm with you, I'm with you. As a coach, I don't believe in multitasking. I call it a myth, because I am trained to be present in the moment, to be present with my teenager, to be present with my client, right? And so practice no screen policy such that your time with them is quality. Presence. See, I said this last week, and if you're not a Christian and you're listening to this, please forgive me, but I'm going to use the scripture to depict presence. Scripture says that I will never leave you nor forsake you. And that is the easiest thing I can use to describe presence. Now, you can leave your teenagers, your young adults, your Gen Z, your children, and you cannot thanking you. There is an emotional connection. There is a bond that we still share together. That I know that, oh, daddy's got my back. Mr. Elias has got my back. Madam, Mrs. Ecost, can you still hear me? Can you still hear me?
We are hearing you now, but you went off a bit.
Yes, can you hear me now? There was a call. I actually turned on my DND. I didn't know why.
Hear you now.
Okay, right? So the next thing basically is small talks. Thank you very much for confirming you can hear me. Thank you very much. The next thing is small talk. See, it is in the small talk you can know that your teenager has started dating, where you just say, oh, while you are watching a movie and you see a teenager that is dating and you say, what do you think about an 18-year-old or a 16-year-old having a boyfriend? It is, you are not taking it serious. You are playing. It is in that small talk that you will actually know what are the values you have inculcated into them. Has it really sinked in? Are they really taking it in? Or they are just, you know, what's the word? Or they're falling off the ground, right? And you know you need to now reinforce. Vulnerability, this upcoming generation respects people that are vulnerable, not those that, oh my God, thank God for power supply, for restoration of power. Just give me a moment. So I'm still with you. I'm just trying to connect. They respect people that are authentic, that are vulnerable, not people that feel that, oh, I'm perfect, which is the mistake that the older generation, you know, the older generation, we were raised to believe that our parents are always right, that they know everything, that they are infallible, that they cannot be wrong, that, you know, all those things that we have about our parents. Not that I'm saying that, sorry, you still have my attention. I'm just trying to get these things up. I apologize. Sorry, just give me a moment. Right. So vulnerability is, so you see, you can see that I don't know how to multitask, right? Please let me just plug all these my devices. And you have my full attention back. Yes, so we're good now. One more thing, my ring. So my ring light is going to go off briefly, but it will come on shortly. Okay, fantastic. So we're back. You're welcome. For those that are just joining us, if you were here last week, I'm sure this was where we stopped last week. So vulnerability, they want you to be very, excuse me, very authentic with them. Now, let me tell you one of the ways by which our older generation were not vulnerable with us, and we could not just connect with them and just feel, oh, they don't understand us. When we were in secondary school, virtually every of my classmates in the boarding house we usually say, oh, my daddy came first in his class. My daddy came first in his class. And one day I just asked everyone and I said, wait, if your dad came first when he was in his class, and my dad came first when he was in, please, who were the people then coming last? So it just shows that these people were not really authentic with us. They just made us to feel that, oh, you know, they never failed. So, and it is because of things like this that they've lost faith in the upcoming generation, sorry, in the older generation, to say, see, you guys, your words are not in alignment with your actions, right? So tune in with your eyes. When you're speaking with them, let them know that they have your full attention. Remember where I started from, to say that they really want you to probe, to know that they feel like you want to know how they feel and what they're thinking. So yes, they might give you that vibes of, I don't care and all of that, but guess what? They really, really, really want to know that you care. So another way by which you can develop this conversation is asking meaningful and thought-provoking questions. I have a program called the Coaching Skills Training, and the next cohort is coming up in June, but you can start making payments. In fact, there is a subsidized amount of 60,000. It's a 4-day training where you'll be equipped with the skills on how to actually ask these questions as thought-provoking questions. I will show you how to do it and you will practice, right? And also I will give you feedback because, this is something that I've worked with a coaching school, till the coaching school got accreditation with the global body for coaching, right? So involving your children in conversations, don't just assume that, because they are teenagers, because they are Gen Z. How many of you know that there are times when you felt disconnected in a family? I told you, when I was 13, it felt like I lost my dad because he stopped involving me in conversation. My dad was my best friend before that time, but suddenly he came home and he said, his general overseer told him to resign. And if you have read my book, Rescued by Love, Why I Cancelled My Wedding, the detail of the story is there. So involve them in your conversation, like decision making, because one thing when I teach on becoming the best friend of a teenager, and that is another program on its own, one of the things that I show you is that I show you based on their age, the skills that is actually activated in them. And one of it as a teenager is decision making and problem solving. That problem solving skill is something you want to really harness in your family, in your organization, wherever it is, in that church, wherever it is, or mosque, wherever it is you have these teenagers and these young adults. And so communication and trust are two main ingredients of a successful relationship. And it starts with acceptance. If I don't trust you, I will not be vulnerable to communicate with you. So regardless of what they've done in the past and what they are still doing and what has not been done, can you just trust them and let them know that, see, there is a level of trust you will give to your teenagers and this Gen Z, that they believe they can do the impossible. That when people are telling them that, at this age, in this generation, and I'm going to use this as baseline to say, there are people, that they still get married as, there are still people that do not engage in premarital sex, right? When you teach them that and you say, I trust you to be able to live that kind of life, they will keep on living that life knowing that, hey, daddy, mommy, my mentor, trust me, my educator, my teacher, trust me so much that I can keep myself. Does that make sense? Now, in order to build this trust, keep the conversation open to let them know that I am always here if you need anybody to talk to. See, that is something that I tell my teenagers all the time. And they can call me at any time of the day to tell me anything. Mirroring is something that you want to do so that when you're having a conversation with them, when they are shaking their head and they're doing like this, you mirror the same thing. They feel that in the coaching skills training is the training that we call building rapport. Building rapport, I want to know that you feel me. I want to know that you have my back, like we are the same. People only speak with those that they feel they are the same. So when you mirror them, right, and you, as they're speaking, you just demonstrate those things, you are able to, engage them and communicate effectively with them. Next is privacy and respect. Now, they are in that generation where a lot of things are happening outside of the world. People are disappointing them. Things are happening, and they need a safe space. When you let them know that this thing that you're discussing with me, I will not tell anyone. Nobody will know. Of course, there are exceptions to these rules. So, for example, if I'm working, an NGO hired me to work with teenagers, right? And if one of the teenagers is suicidal, 2 days ago, one of the teenagers reported to me that there is a child that is being molested by the father. I had to report to, I had to now let them know that, at this rate, I had to disclose this because of the safety of that child. And right now, a lawyer is involved. We've taken it up to, to the police station, and human rights is involved and all that. This work is a lot of work, but I enjoy it, So the next is dignity and confidence. You are the one to pump that respect into them. Give them that confidence, that dignity, that say, everybody might be doing it, but you can choose to be different. And guess what? In being different, because they are in that place where they are also facing peer pressure, the trust that you have in them, the confidence that you have pumped into them will make them to be able to stand out And standing out is, see this globe? I have this globe on my bookshelf because I remind myself all the time that greatness, you're a lady of global and eternal influence. You cannot do what every other person is doing. I did not have, maybe my dad, as in, when I said I lost my relationship with him, but things are now better. But I've grown to program myself, to train myself to say, greatness, you are a lady of dignity. Build that confidence into them, build that respect into them. So I did this, and I want us to please interact at this point, because after this exercise, I'm going to play a video for us to watch. Now, there are things that I wish I knew when I was a teenager, and I want you to share your own. The first is that what I'm going through is not all there is to my life, and I should not define my life by it. Now, when I was a teenager, it got to a point, even though I was extremely brilliant, I had the best result. I was the best student in chemistry, geography, economics, agric, and I was just so intelligent that everybody just said, oh, because you're intelligent, you must be a medical doctor, because you're intelligent. And guess what? I used to sit at the back because I had self-esteem issues. I'd faced so much abuse in the home that I didn't believe in myself. My self-esteem was so poor and all of that. And when I finished secondary school, unfortunately, we didn't have physics teacher. So I didn't have a physics teacher. I wasn't reading physics on my own. I thought I could go through life without physics. And voila, physics made me to do O-level 7 times. Now, the intelligence greatness ended up doing O-level 7 times. Now, this further crushed my self-esteem. I started feeling like a failure. I started defining my life like, oh, I'm a failure. And guess what? I became suicidal. I had to leave my parents, before, I think I was 19, 2009. And I had to just say, no, you know what, I'm going to keep myself in Mina. And I left. But I wish I knew when I was a teenager that it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes. I wish I knew that my parents, my teachers, my mentors will sometimes misunderstand me, or they will not believe in me. And now I want you to share your own. What are the things you wish you knew as a teenager? Because guess what? Your teenagers, your Gen Z, the younger generation are going through things that they are actually wishing that, oh my God, I wish I knew this right now as a teenager. So I'm going to allow you to speak. Let me stop sharing. So what are the things you wish you knew when you were a teenager? Let me start from Mr. Victor. Mr. Victor, it's good to see you. Welcome. Mr. Victor, are you there?
Hi, everyone. I'm here.
Okay. Do you want to turn on your video?
The place is that there's no light.
Okay, just go ahead and speak.
Okay. So, what I wish I knew as a teenager was, I wish I knew more of the Word of God that I know now. It would have given me a stronger word base and depth, in the things of the Bible and so on. So that's one thing I wish I knew more.
Okay, so there were no issues that you dealt with that if could maybe crumble you and all of that, that right now that you've grown, you're not like, oh my God, I wish I knew that when I was a teenager.
Okay, yes, anger management. I used to fight a lot. Oh Lord, I used to beat people up, so but God has helped me. God has really helped me. I remember somebody I punched, and then the person he hit his head on the pavement, and I think it was an epileptic case. I was afraid. In fact, in the twinkle of an eye, I saw myself behind bars. But for some reason, I don't know how the man he became okay, and then they let me go. Oh my God. So I've learned anger management issues over the years, after that, in hindsight.
Fantastic. Thank you. Let's have Mr. Chioma Iyayi. Mr. Chioma Iyayi, what are the things you wish you knew, when you were a teenager? You want to turn on your video?
It's dark in here, so.
Okay, it's fine. Just go ahead. Can you hear us?
It's me and my wife listening in. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
can you hear me?
Good to see. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so what I wish I knew when I was younger, there were some fundamental questions I used to ask my father at the time, then which he couldn't answer for me. So I had to do research myself, to learn about those standing. That would have helped me a lot. Yeah. One of those aspects was financial management.
Go ahead.
Financial management. I wish I had that from my dad when I was younger.
Amazing. So what I'm hearing you say is that Mr. Victor wished he learned anger management when he was a teenager. So, but I have a question, Mr. Iyayi and Mr. Iyayi. Is it the same Iyayi I know on LinkedIn that is into parenting and all of that? Because your picture looks like him.
Yes.
Hey, thank you for gracing. I mean, you're my mentor now. Why are you saying that? I mean, you're supposed to be a facilitator.
Yes, it's my.
Oh, thank you so much, sir.
I'm also. I'm also learning. So part of my growth process is to listen to others, and my wife made it a point of duty for me to be on your platform today.
Whoa, God bless her. I wish there was light to see her face. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ma. I so much appreciate you, Ma. Thank you. Okay, let's have one more person. Do we have one more person that wants to share? Sir, do you still want to say one more thing? Because I think I interrupted you. Did I? Mr. Iyayi?
No, fine. I just, well, I would like to say that, I have picked some very important things from your exposition today about communicating with my kids. Just like our first speaker spoke about, anger management is an issue I'm trying to manage with my daughters, because I want to build a very strong, intimate relationship with them. Yeah, because I feel that kind of intimacy protects them also from unnecessary pejorative behavior of others. That's of the male folk around them.
I love that.
Yeah. So if I have the right kind of communication with them, it helps them to make better informed decisions when they are relating or communicating with the male folk. Because I feel that kind of intimacy protects us from
the audio is distorted.
Maybe they were not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Hello.
I think it's the network. It's not you. It's just the network.
Oh, okay. So, Madam Ekwase, go ahead. You wanted to speak.
Yes, thank you so much for all the contributions. I'm excited to be here. One thing I wish I didn't do growing up is being in competition with people. Wanting to come first, the pressure of, oh, you got to be first. No, it's better now. Now I know that I can really see the best in people. Everybody has their path to go through, and I can compete with myself to raise the bar by my own self. So let me keep my eyes on the ball and just maintain my lane, not to be in competition with people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mommy. Thank you so much. Wow. I love the set of participants, delegates. I can't even call it what if are delegates, my mentors. I don't know what my mentors are doing in this room tonight. So, hey, I hope I will have the confidence to continue this facilitation. Okay, so the next is what I wish my parents knew, which I think some of us have actually stated, but I will share my own, and then let's have some people that didn't share earlier share theirs. Say, what are the things I wish my parents know? And this is not me blaming my parents. This is me just saying that, oh my God, sorry, I went too fast, right? So number one is sometimes I just wish my parents knew. I just wanted them to listen and not give solutions to my problems. I wish they could trust my decisions, my actions, and beyond what others tell them about me, and support me to achieve my goal. So if you've read my book, Rescued by Love, Why I Canceled My Wedding, let me spotlight myself. Sorry. Yeah, so if you've read this book, Rescued by Love, Why I Canceled My Wedding, you know that part of the story, of my story, where, you know, my dad believed his general overseer above me, right? When his general overseer said to him that he should beat me, and, you know, a church of like 15,000 people and like 6 pastors were beating me with a wire of mic just because the general overseer's niece told him that I hit her with my chest. And I said, I did not even, first of all, it was a crowded environment. And if I hit you with my chest, I had apologized. Why did my dad not believe me above what he heard? You know, and they were calling me names and all of that. And this is not to blame my dad, because obviously we've had this conversation, right? But the point is, the learning in this is that I just wish that my parents trusted me above outsiders. I just wish that they listened to me. And sometimes it's not like I don't have solutions to some problem. Remember, I told you about the problem-solving skill of the teenagers at their age. That's why they take risks that you cannot hear, because they have heightened sense of problem-solving skills. And so they are not seeing the challenges. And that is why you have to harness it, so that when there are challenges in the home, you quickly say, oh, what do you think we can do? What do you think we can do? What do you think we can do? Number 2, I wish there were a safe space for me, such that, of course, the chapter 2 of my book is titled, I started searching for love in wrong places. And that was what led to my first sexual abuse, you know, by my pastor then. And so I wish they were not judgmental of me, you know. And so when you sign up for the coaching skills training, we teach you how to be a safe space. We call it holding the space, you know, for whoever it is, your employee, your teenagers, your children, and all of that. And lastly, beyond my academics and chores, I wanted to talk about other stuff and just play with my parents. Some of us, the only time we have conversation with our teenagers or our Gen Z or whatever it is when you are giving them tasks to do. And I hope we know that there is a difference between a task and responsibility. But please, that is not a conversation for tonight. That is a program I teach in Becoming the Friend of a Teenager. And so, please, now it's your turn. What are the things you wish your parents knew when you were a teenager? Because we are learning this on how to engage the upcoming generation, how to basically effectively communicate with them. But if we don't audit where we're coming from, we will find out that we're repeating the same mistake. And the things that we feared the most, unfortunately, we attract. And so, because at a point, I remember I had to confront my dad to say, do you know why you're actually abusive? And it feels to me you're abusive than your dad that you're resenting. It's because you did not forgive your dad and you didn't even audit what happened to you. And so it's your time and it's your turn. Let's talk. What are the things you wish your parents knew when you were a teenager? Mr. John, let's hear you now. Mr. John. Mr. John, are you there? And if others can please use the chat box, I'll be very glad, so that we can have everybody from everybody speak. Mr. John Samuel, are you there? Okay, Favor, do you want to speak since you didn't speak in the first one? what I wish my parents knew when I was a teenager, or right now that I'm no longer.
Hello, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, can you pass, because I just joined, so I want to also learn from people like my boss and our mentors.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we are learning. We're all learning together.
Yes,
Trust
I
me.
know.
There's a shared microphone, so do you want to share your own? What are the
Okay, yes, it's almost similar to which everyone is like, and they want to change us to conform to, so we don't make the same mistake they make, which is good, but at the same time, sometimes it's always good they allow people make their mistakes. Like the parents will say, because I was poor, when I become, my child must go through. But sometimes it's good for the child to also learn the other part of life, that life is not a bed of roses, or because I was this, because now I'm more advanced, I must not do that. So that's just a bit of what I want to share, that sometimes it's good, it's painful, but just allow them to just like you're telling a child, that's a mistake, and learn from it. Not that you won't guide them, but you get to say, this is what you have to do. Thank you.
Yes, great. Great. Thank you so much for sharing. Favor, do you want to share? Favor? Hi, Favor. Okay, do we have one more person that wants to share? What I wish my parents knew. This is not blaming our parents. Basically, it's we learning and taking responsibility for our own lives and, our own upcoming generation. Okay, so I'm going to play this video that I want us to learn from and see the practicality of what we have shared so far, right? I would have to share my audio, my sound. Share sound. Person that wants to share. What I wish my parents knew. This is not blaming our parents. Basically, it's we learning and taking responsibility for our own lives and, our own upcoming generation.
Today, you did not make a small choice.
Okay, so I'm going to play this video that I want us to learn from.
But not going outside, so that's why I didn't want to make this a small choice. Earlier, I couldn't go outside, so I was still with those. Today, you did not make a small choice.
This is not blaming our parents.
You hit me soon, but not going outside, so that's why I didn't want to make this a small choice. Today, I did not make a small choice.
Okay, so I'm going to play this video.
Today, you did, but not going outside, so that's why I didn't want to make this a small choice. Earlier, I couldn't go outside, so I was still with those. Today, you did not make a small choice. So, you hit me soon, but not going outside, so that's why I didn't want to make this a small choice. Today, I did not make a small choice.
Can anybody hear me now?
Yes, but it was just modeling.
Could you hear the sound of the video while it was playing? Did you hear
it? Was modeled up. It was modeled up.
Okay, let me play it again. Please let me know if it is still modeled up.
Outside, so that's why I didn't want to make this a small choice. Today, I did not make a small choice.
Can anybody hear me now?
Yes, but it was just modeling.
Could you hear the sound of the video while it was playing? Did you hear
it? Was modeled up. It was modeled up.
So what I want to say,
let me play it again. Please let me know
Greatness.
if it is still modeled up.
Outside, so that's why I didn't want to make this a small choice.
Okay, someone was trying to get my attention. Go ahead.
Yes, Coach. Greatness. It's me, Exceptional Ekwase. You see, when it starts, we start to hear your voice as well at the back. And when it starts, after some few seconds, it starts all over again. Today, it starts all over again. So something is not right.
Connect my audio. Please use the chat to communicate with me if it's still like that, please. I'll disconnect my audio so I won't be able to hear. Does that make sense? Please use the chat to let me know if it's still muddled up or it's clear now.
And when it starts, after some few seconds, it starts all over again. Today, starts all over again. So something is not right.
You connect my audio. Please use the chat to communicate with me. If it's still like that, please. I'll disconnect my audio so I won't be able to hear. Does that make sense? Please use the chat to let me know if it's still muddled up or it's clear now.
That was a consequence.
But after I was a little sad, I was a little bit upset.
And when it starts after some few seconds, it starts all over again. Today, starts all over again. So something is not right.
Connect my audio. Please use the chat to communicate with me. If it's still like that, please. I'll disconnect my audio so I won't be able to hear. Does that make sense? Please use the chat to let me know if it's still muddled up. Okay. I'm going to send the video, the link to the video. I apologize. This is the first time I'm experiencing this. Oh, I know what's happening. Sorry, I am the cause. I know what's happening. It will not happen again. I'm going to do it now. Let's play it now and you will see that it will stop. I already saw the problem. Okay, so.
Today, you did not make a smart choice. So, you hurt my feelings by not going outside. So that's why I didn't want to make this a smart choice. You know, Aaliyah,
I need your response.
I couldn't go outside, so I was still a little sad.
I like I said to you, I now know what's happened. So let me start it from the beginning now. So thank you very much thank you. I apologize. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So I'm going to play from the beginning now without interrupting.
Today, you did not make a smart choice. So, you hurt my feelings by not going outside. So that's why I didn't want to make this a smart choice. You know, Aaliyah, I couldn't go outside, so I was still a little sad.
Yeah. But that was a consequence.
But after I was a little sad, I was a little bit upset. More than a little.
More than a little upset?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We all get upset sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't get what we want all the time.
Mama also don't. Papa also don't. But it's hard for babies to do that. They're still babies. They don't understand. We dropped the plate and Papa got angry at her, and I told Papa to make this. I told Papa to stop breathe slow and make a small choice for Papa.
And then did he do it?
Yeah, but earlier I chose to be a tiny bit mad, but after a while I was okay.
You were okay?
Mm-hmm.
Life is like that. We get upset, we get mad, we cry.
That's emotions, Mama.
That's emotions, I know. And then we feel better after we cry.
Yep. You do, even when you're upset or angry. Always different kinds of feelings. Even though when you're scared.
That's another emotion.
Yeah, a different kind of emotion. No, I was wrong. Today I had a out and do my emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is today.
That's okay.
But it means
We're learning. You're learning also.
even though when I was that many. Today you did not
Okay,
make
so
no
please tell me
choice.
what you learned from
So
this.
you hit me.
What did you? I've stopped now. Why are you still playing? Okay. So what did you learn from this mother and son in terms of communication and what we had discussed before? So please let's share our learning. First of all, did we get the video? Did we get it? Like, did we understand what happened? Or is it because I have watched it over and over and over again? Did we get it, or should I play it once again? Please, can we respond so I will not cry? So did we get the video, or should I play it once again? Did you guess what happened in that conversation, or should I play it once again? Nobody's saying anything. That means you people did not watch the video. That interesting video. Oh my God, really? Nobody is talking, or is it that my audio is disconnected? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, did you get the video?
I think the boy was trying to really communicate a sense of emotions, different types of emotions, pretty much it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, someone else got anything? Or do you want me to play it once again?
Hello?
Okay, so go ahead. Mr. Elias, go ahead, sir.
I think they had a very smooth communication between the two of
Fantastic.
them. The mother
Amazing.
knew how to do with him.
How
to relate with him. And she
Yes.
understood his point of view, and so she was working with him based on his level. So there was a smooth communication, actually.
Amazing. So you remember what I shared? Let me go back to my slide. What I was sharing at the beginning in terms of having that effective communication. Let me stop the video. Excuse me. Let me go back. But I don't want to go back because basically let me just quickly take us to that particular slide. Remember when I was sharing this slide, I'm on this slide now, how to develop good communication with your teens. When I talked about time, presence, small talk, vulnerability, asking meaningful questions, involved, do you understand? Everything was depicted in that conversation there's another thing I wanted to show you here. Now, remember this place too, where I said that your child won't tell you this, but they want you to probe into their inner life to actually find out how they are feeling and what they are thinking. So you can see that video actually depicts what we have shared so far. So I'll quickly continue. This was supposed to be a link where you also feel that question, those two questions, what I wish my parents knew and what I wish I knew as a teenager, but because of time, I'll just run through. So what are the factors that actually make communications not to be effective? And I love the fact that Mr. Elias pointed out the fact that the mother actually came down to the son's level. And so number one is status. These teenagers and this younger generation, this upcoming generation that we're trying to engage, as much as they are feeling like you are not, you don't get them, the truth is that you're not on the same status. That's the truth. Your role is not the same as theirs. Cultural differences, sometimes you and I mean, this is even a generation of Jackpot where a lot of us are going to raise our children in the abroad, where there are cultural differences. They are schooling in the abroad where the culture, where we were raised here in Nigeria is different, right? Choice of communication channel is another thing to say, oh, sometimes you are comfortable with WhatsApp, the older generation, whereas they actually want you to, use, say, TikTok to have a conversation with them. Do you understand? So length of communication is another thing. The use of language, disabilities, known or unknown receiver. So known or unknown receiver is basically to say that if I know you so well, I already know how to actually engage you. I know some things that I will say that will quickly get your attention. Do you understand? So you really need to take time to really know these teenagers. And that's why when parents or NGOs or anyone hires me, the first thing I do is actually to do a personality test to help you to understand your teenager better. Right. The next thing is individual perception. Now, sometimes due to our past, due to our issues, due to everything that has happened to us, we also we make communication not to be effective. The next is noise. We wanted to watch a video. I didn't know that I did not mute a particular site where I am live streaming to. And so there was noise, there was that interference that I'm wondering, okay, I'm not speaking, where is that coming from? But just because, this is something I've been doing. I've been working virtually since 2020. I stopped by 9 to 5, 2020, and I'm doing this, right? And so I am used to all of these things. So I can basically say, oh, what exactly is happening? Oh, yeah, this was happening. But some people might have just said, oh, this is not happening, and so we can no longer communicate, and so we cannot watch the video, and we could have given up. But thanks to you for your patience, and next is clarity of message. A lot of people don't know that communication has to be clear, concise, and for it to be effective, it has to be very, very clear. When you are using technical jargons, which you're going to get to, when you do not ask for feedback, which is the next thing, you won't even know whether you're clear or not. Next, in terms of factors affecting communication, is our thinking style. In the coaching skills program, when you sign up for it, I'll teach you 4 learning styles. They are auditory learners, they are kinesthetic learners, they are visual learners, they are auditory digital learners. Now, these learners communicate in different ways. There are some learners, and I'll tell you, when you are speaking to them, they will say something to you that I can't see what you're saying. Those are visual learners. They cannot see what you're saying. You need to use pictures. You need to use landmarks they can relate to. You need to use images they can relate to. That is why we have slides. Language is another thing. If you are not raising your children with your own language, you don't know what can happen. Ethnicity, religion, perspectives. Life is all about perspective. If someone like Madeshola says, you don't love me, she does not feel loved by me. I should not say, but I'm showing you love. She said something to me earlier today when we were speaking. She said, you do more of the calling, I do more of the chatting. So we already understand that greatness is a calling type, Madeshola is a chatting type. Experiences, I am more sensitive to abuse than an average person that has not been abused before. Does that make sense? So when you're communicating with me, verbal abuse that some people might just allow it to slide, I will take it like, please don't say that to me. Not because I have not healed, but because maybe someone has said that kind of word to me and it's triggering something. Does that make sense? Nationality, job level, race, culture, skills, gender, physical ability, sexual orientation, age, these are factors that affect communication. Now, as a master, if you want to master communication, it involves you understanding that you have to be in congruence with what you're saying. What you're feeling has to be in congruence with what you're saying. Something happened with my friend last week. We had a disagreement. And men, you know, when I showed you gender, it's easier for men to quickly let things go and just let it pass and just say, well, it's over, than we women. Sometimes we women dwell more on issues than men. And so he said, this situation has sucked in a lot of energy in the room. Can we just let it go? And I am saying that you are not respecting my emotions. And so he said, can we just let it go? And I said, okay, it's fine. Maybe I'm too sensitive. You know, as I said that, my emotions told me that it is not all right. I started purging. I started feeling stomach upset. I started having headache. And I hope you know that your emotions are actually tied to some part of your body, such that how you're feeling in some part of your body is actually communicating. Emotions are actually communication. I hope we know that. And so you need to pay attention to what your emotions, to your feelings, to say, what am I thinking that is depicting this feeling? Building rapport, I already said that, and I taught you how to do that. Matching representational style. When someone is a visual learner, when you're communicating with them, you have to use images, you have to use landmarks, you have to show something that they can say, oh, I see it, I see what you're saying. Those are visual learners. When you're communicating to the kinesthetic person, you can see the switch in the tone of my voice. You have to ensure that you're switching the tone of your voice so that they can feel you. Those are the people that when you're speaking to them, they say, I feel you, I feel you, I feel you. The last but not the least are the auditory learners. Those are the people that they hear what others are not hearing. When I switch the tone of my voice, if you have an auditory teenager, she will be the one to say, Mommy, you are yelling. Daddy, you are yelling. Or Miss Favor, you're yelling. And you're like, I'm not yelling. But the child says you're yelling. That shows you're yelling. And the point is, communication is how the person receives what you're sending out, not the intention, because we don't see your intention. Yes, your intention is positive, but we don't see your intention. Silence speaks volume. So maximize silence. Now, communication encompasses, I've said this before, but I'll just reiterate to cap it up all. Your facial expression, your posture, your breathing pattern, your vocal tonality, your volume, your rhythm of voice. So the content of your communication actually involves your definition, because your definition might not be their own definition. So for someone, when you're saying, maybe for the younger generation, when you're saying maybe an hangout for the older generation might not be the same thing to a younger generation. So someone in the older generation told me, oh, I went for a beach party, and guess what? She was wearing a skirt. She was wearing a long skirt to a beach. To the younger generation, a beach party is wear a shorts, dress sporty. So definition is very important to understand. How does this person understand what I'm saying? What is important to me might not be what is important to this person. So I want to understand what is important to them in this age they are in. The next is methodology. To say, what is the best way I can communicate with them? Sorry. That I'm using the method by which they understand. So in order to engage them, you have to attract them, you have to win them over, you have to involve them, you have to touch them, you have to capture them, you have to captivate them, you have to grab them, you have to hold them, you have to absorb them. And this is done by you getting and keeping their attention. This is done by you giving them something memorable, helping them to be their best. That's why it is so important to have coaching skills, not because I want to sell my coaching skills training, but it is just so important because this generation are not the telling generation. They're not the generation that you just tell them what to do and you can just leave them. They will question everything. So the next is actually to interest them in something that keeps them thinking about it. See, There are things that are the things that they are interested in. Find it out. What are the things you are interested in? Don't impose your interest on them. Become involved in their lives, in their activities. They have something they're doing, get involved. Attend their events. Do you understand? Let them know that, oh, Dad has got my back. When they are saying, oh, I'm presenting today. Oh, what time are you presenting? I'm going to take time off work to come. It means a lot to them. Like, I'm doing a webinar tonight. This means a lot to me that you're here. To be honest, I don't already decided that even if I know I didn't send out a reminder, I will just record it and just upload it on YouTube and share the recording later, because I need to get this out of my table because it's a burden on my heart. The next is actually to attack or begin to fight someone. See, the younger generation most times feel attacked by the older generation when we are speaking to them. Speak in a way that they know that, oh, you are interested, genuinely interested in them. So active listening is ensuring you hear and understand what they are communicating to you. And this is achieved by being present. That's why I told you multitasking is a myth. Give your full attention. Let them know that you hear them, you understand them, smile to them, affirm them, nod, And when they're saying something that they're like, use dismissive gestures. Level down, get down to their level, just like you saw in that video with that mother and child. Connect with them. Let them feel safe with you. Hug them. Now, using appropriate questions like what, why, how, without interrupting them, shows that you are listening to them. And this helps them to communicate and open more to them. Guess what? If you don't create that safe space for them, they will look for it elsewhere, and most likely the wrong places. Now, communicating effectively also is in you reflecting words to them, reflecting the emotions. You saw how that mother was basically mirroring the emotions the child was saying. She was repeating it. She was reflecting it, just showing that, oh, when you're repeating it back to the child, you saw that video. That's why I was asking, I hope we actually saw that video and we really got what was shown in that video, right? This helps your child to develop emotional intelligence, because you can see that that child was already aware of his emotion to say, I was not just upset a little, I was really upset. So, but if you do not give them room to express their emotion, they will not be emotionally intelligent. Emotional intelligence is something I taught in my book, chapter 4 or chapter 5 of this book, From Lemon to Lemonade, How to Use Your Pain to Unleash Your Greatness, is you leveraging your emotions to unleash your greatness, right? And so your child resorts to non-verbal expression of feeling, and they take a walk. They will learn how to take a walk, how to understand, how to emotional intelligence. Let me just summarize it. Number one is actually you being aware of your emotion. You've been able to be aware of other people's emotion. You'll be being able to regulate your emotion, and all of that. You'll be able to empathize with other people. So a child that actually has a parent, a mentor, an educator that communicates effectively is more emotionally intelligent than the others. Next, to communicate effectively is basically you leading by example. Like, you are the first God. You are the first everything to this child, so that these teenagers idolize you. There is a point where they feel that you know everything. And at that time, you need to have gained their trust by you modeling what is important to them. Let them know the values that are important. Let them know what is important in this world. Make a promise that you can keep. Don't tell them you will buy something when you know you cannot afford it. No. Because you are training them to actually believe that God does not keep to his word. You are training them not to be able to also keep to their words. When I say something, I do everything to make it come to pass, because my word is my bond. When I say something, when I said last week that we were going to do part 2 today, you don't want to know how many things happened today that I could almost give you the excuse that, sorry, this is not going to hold. Yes, for example, last two days ago, on Tuesday, we're supposed to have a program, but remember I said I had an issue with my friend, and he came to town, right? Came all the way from Lagos to say, let's have a conversation around what happened last week, because we basically we didn't have a smooth conversation from that last week to that particular, 2 days before then. And when he came, I was thinking that, oh, we're going to have our conversation late in the evening, as we usually have it. But because it was so important to him, he came very, very much earlier. So before 9 p.m., he was already around. And I was like, you know what? I was supposed to have a webinar, but I have to post webinar because I have to prioritize my own relationship, my own friendship, my own mental health as well. So it builds trust when you keep to your words. Do's and don'ts of effective communication. Be very clear. Be specific. Very, very specific. Please avoid derogatory words. When I wrote this book, I shared on definition of abuse, types of abuse, and in the types of abuse, we have verbal abuse as one of the types of abuse. And I can tell you for free that the most powerful and the most detrimental abuse is verbal abuse. We are programmed by words. When you say negative words to your teenagers, to your Gen Z, to your children, they remember years to come. So please, let them know that, let them feel respected such that they will not accept disrespect from anybody outside. Let them feel so that they are not searching for love in wrong places like I did. Praise them when they do good things. Praise them for specific action. And don't just say, oh, you're a good child. We love it. We Gen Z, we younger generation, we love it when you praise us for specific actions like, thank you so much. I'm so proud of you for helping me out today. Be very specific. Encourage your child to think proactively. Your teenagers, let them think about solutions. Don't always give them solutions. It is not engaging their creative and problem-solving skills. You will not be able to communicate effectively with them because they will feel like, oh, she just always tell me what to do. She treats me like I cannot think. It is empowering for teenagers and the younger generation, the upcoming generation, when you ask them, what do you think? Wow, it's so empowering. It helps them to communicate with you. It helps them to engage with you. It helps them to know that they have a sense of ownership, and it gives them greater motivation to actually resolve their issues. Because guess what? You cannot always be with them. Life will happen. You might be physically with them. You might not forsake them, but you cannot always be physically with them, right? And so, gather so many information, ask them questions, follow-up questions, as to say, learn about how they think, see things from their perspective, give them insights. And in fact, highlight their wisdom. Delay correction. I know that we are so used to when there is a blank paper and a single dot, everybody focus on the single dot and the blank paper. Nobody says, oh, this is a blank paper with just a single dot. We focus on that black one that has stained to say, this my child is not doing this. How about the other things that he or she is doing right? So please resist the urge to correct them immediately. Understand why they do what they do. Do you understand? And even if they are wrong, as it often, it terminates communication. Immediately you start correcting them, you start shutting them down, that they feel, oh, you did not even ask me why I'm doing this. Yes, to you it might be wrong, but have you asked for the intention behind what I'm doing? Instead of you just jumping to say, oh, I am not doing something right. Please, this upcoming generation, we have to be very polite and respectful to them. I know that we were raised when they spoke to us anyhow, they talked to us anyhow, and looked like we were fine. But really, were we fine? Some of us were dysfunctional. So build your self-worth by the way you speak with them, politely, respectfully. use kind words, create that good relationship so that you have a better communication with them. Now, what are the don'ts of effective communication? Inducement and reward. This should not be used for basic behavior as it leads to distortion of boundaries and distrust between you and your, whether they are your teenagers or they are your, employees, or they are your mentees, or they are your proteges, depending on who they are. So anywhere you see me put child, just understand that that's what I mean. And so set clear and realistic expectation for them. Set boundaries as much as you praise them for the good behavior. When observe them, if you don't observe them, you will not be able to basically praise them, or encourage them to do better. And there's a way you can correct them to say, oh, I see what you do there, but you can do better. Does that make sense? Let me just show this. Please, instead of that, stop shaming your children. See, they face a lot of shaming outside, though. And shaming actually diminishes their self-worth and self-esteem. It diminishes their self-worth and self-esteem. Please, I beg you with everything you have. I told you about my story. I became suicidal. I wanted to kill myself because of the level of poor self-esteem that I had as a teenager. Thank God for coming through for me. And that's why I titled my book, Rescued by Love I Can't Survive. If not for the love of God that came through for me, I would have killed myself. I won't be who I am today. I won't be doing, in fact, I would have died. So when mistakes are made, even seemingly consistently, focus on the behavior, not attacking the person. See, there's a difference between you are not your behavior. The person is not the behavior. That someone is stealing doesn't make them a thief. Every thief will steal, but not every person that steals is a thief. And there's a difference. I hope we get that. So behavior can be corrected by giving instructions in a supportive and encouraging way. But being defective is beyond a child's ability leading to learn helplessness. So please, let us help them to know you can do better. You can do better is a good way to correct them instead of you defining them by their behavior. The next don't of effective communication is using of unkind words. See, I cannot stress this enough. Let me tell you, what's program us? Words program us. We are programmed by words. Stop using labels of stop all those labels. That's the truth. Abusive words, derogatory words. These things make your child feeling disliked. They feel unloved. They feel less of greatness. They don't feel like a man or a woman of global and internal influence. Remember where I started from, right? Using negative words and actions like you focusing on what they are doing wrongly, interrupting them, consistently criticizing them, dwelling on the past. That's what you did the last time. Always nagging, lecturing. All those our older generation people. Once it's time for morning devotion, we know that they will raise what we did in the past. They are doing morning devotion and say that is how greatness 2 days ago or 2 years ago. Putting your children down is you will not be able to effectively communicate with them. With your teenagers, I know they are not perfect. Don't threaten them. Don't lie. Don't deny their feelings. See, when my friend and I, when we had issues last week, I said to him, I am not saying you're right. I'm not saying that I am right. I am just saying acknowledge my feelings. If I feel disrespected, can you acknowledge and apologize and let me see your perspective in a respectful way? And that is how we are. The younger generation wants to know that you respect our feeling and not you telling me, oh, get out of that emotions. No, that's you will not be able to communicate effectively with them. So having age-appropriate communications, and I think I'll stop here so that we can take questions, or I'll pause here, we can take questions. So basically, ensure that they are age-appropriate communication strategy. I'll show you, I'll run through the slides. So how you communicate with babies is different from how you communicate with children and communicate with teenagers. So listening to them, oh my God, what's my class? And so helping them developing their skill, right, is now, this is very important. I must stress this. I hope you can see the slide, but I can see it moving. Okay, I can see it moving now. I hope we're still following. Please, are we still here? Are we learning? Are we getting value for our time, our data? Please, let me get your feedback. Are we learning? Are we gaining value for our time? I'm waiting for your response. Are we there?
Yeah, we're there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. John, for the response. Thank you, Mr. Elias. Thank you. So types of listeners, when I was telling you that listening, there are levels of listening. There's a question that, thank you, Madam Favor. There's something I used to ask in the coaching class. Thank you, Madam Adeshola. In the coaching skills training, when I'm teaching coaching skills, I used to say, are you a listener or are you waiting to, what's the word? Are you waiting to speak or you're listening? Yes, that's the word. That's how I say it. I would say, are you waiting to speak or are you listening? Because a lot of us are waiting to speak. We are not listening. So there are levels of listener. The non-listener does not even hear what you're saying. The person is just waiting, concerned about what's next to say. They are the one that interrupts often when you're speaking. Are you like that when you're speaking with your teenagers or your younger generation or your Gen Z or mentees? They do most of the talking. They are the one that must have the last word. Those are the non-listeners. The next level is the subjective listener. These people, they are superficial listeners. They only listen to what they want to hear. They only want to listen to what is in their mind is what they are hearing. And the teenager is saying, Mommy, what I'm saying is not what you're hearing. Or your mentee is saying, what I'm saying is not what you're, because communication, when I ask for your feedback and the feedback I'm hearing, I'm like, no, you're not hearing me. You're not listening to me. And when they say, Mommy, don't listen. Daddy, don't listen. This my teacher does not listen to me. This my mentor does not listen to me. You cannot engage them. You cannot communicate effectively if you don't listen. They stay on the surface of the problem. They don't go deep. They are the ones that are easily distracted. They are pressing their phone. And this gives room for misunderstanding. When they don't listen, they only listen for facts. Like, oh, I already know the big picture. Me, I'm a big picture person. No. Intuitive listeners will get there. Let me take it. Let me know. And I teach you all of this in the coaching skills training. That's why I had to just highlight it. That is from there. Objective listener, they make an effort to hear what's being said, but not the intent. Can you see that? They are more concerned about logic. This is not making sense. Auditory digital people. Those people, I'm like that too. I could be like that. Let me be like that. But I am, of course, because of coaching, I mean, I'm grateful to God for the opportunity to work in a coaching school, you know, when you actually have to help executives to become professional coaches. You have to train them. You have to help parents to get this skill, to help them to engage their younger generation or their team members or whatever it is. So you cannot teach me. I believe in doing what I teach, not teaching what I don't do, you know. And so I have learned to be more intuitive in listening. So, but most logical people, most analytical people, they are more concerned about logic and content. They don't care about the feeling of the person that is speaking. They don't. And that's an objective listener. They believe that they understand, even when they are misunderstanding the person that is speaking. You just believe you understand. You are an objective listener. Don't be an objective listener. So, what kind of listener are you? Are you the one that forms opinion about what the person is saying and what they're saying and what is being said, or the true meaning of what the person is saying that leads to a tense behavior which deteriorates into trust issues. And the level at which we all should get to is to become an intuitive listener, where you attempt to listen to things first from the speaker's point of view, not my own point of view. You suspend your own thoughts, your own opinion, your own whatever it is, and just hear, just listen, just be present. You listen for content, you listen for feelings, you listen for body language, you listen to everything that is being said. You listen to what is not said. Because as a coach, I am trained to listen to what my client is not saying than what my client is saying. And that's why if you have been in a coaching session with me or with a professional coach, one phrase that most coaches say a lot is, I hear you, what I hear you say, or what I'm hearing you say is, and I'm like, yes, coach, you get me. That's because we are listening to what you're not saying. And you should be like that to your teenagers and to your children and to your Gen Z, to your mentees, to your team members. Don't interrupt. Take the cues from what they're saying. Use question to clarify. And that is why in the coaching skills training, I tell people, as a parent or as someone that has coaching skills, the two most powerful tools of a coach is listening and questioning. You cannot be an intuitive listener if you are not questioning, and there are ways to question. I will teach you all of that if you sign up. So this is the flyer. It's an old flyer, but like I said, it's $150 or 90,000 naira. But if you want to make payments before the 10th of this month, you can get it at 60,000 naira or $100. If you are delaying payments till next month, just because you are not aware, you're going to be paying 75,000 naira. But anytime after next month, the 10th of next month, you're going to be paying the normal 90,000 naira or $150. If you want to sign up, you can do a screenshot of the account details and just make a payment. Now, what I can also do is that if you don't have all the 60,000 naira, make a deposit tonight or within the next 24 hours. I would ensure that it's still that 60,000 naira is the total amount that you pay. So let's just continue so that you don't think, oh, this is a marketing strategy. I just thought to mention that because I know that that skill, getting that skill is going to really help you. So teenagers remind us that of what is called TT, as our teens do exciting things. They push boundaries, they push your button. They are the one that want to throw tantrums, and they tend to pull away from the parent. They want to begin to assert their own independence. They want to, develop a trusting relationship with you. And it is in this age that you need to really, 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 because if you lose them at the age of the teenage years, it's so hard to get them back. My dad and I, right now, things are getting better, but of course, trust me, there's a lot of things has happened that I cannot really trust him like the time that we should have built that trust when he, betrayed my trust. Right now, yeah, we're working things out, but it's not like, so developing that healthy and trusting parent-child relationship or that teenage mentor relationship is so important. Remind yourself that, see, they are going through a lot, and yes, they are going through a lot. When the teenagers tell you they are going through a lot, don't say, at your age, you're not paying school fees. They are going through a lot. So you need to remind them that this phase will pass, and it is your responsibility to let them know that, to respect how they feel. When they say, I am going through a lot, don't say, what are you going through? Acknowledge their emotions, And so it's your job to actually let them know that you have to grow to become their friend. So that's why I told you that I have a program called Becoming the Friend of the Teenagers, right? So listen more by asking direct questions for them at their age, because they are more open, if they don't feel pressured, don't let them feel pressured to share information. Let them know that, oh, if you're not ready to share, I trust you. When you're ready, I am here. Validate their feelings. I think I have stressed this, but I cannot overemphasize it. Rather than solving problems for them, explore their creative skill, their problem-solving skills. Please downplay their disappointments. Don't let them feel like, if they feel disappointed in you, don't say, at your age, do you know what's my, no. Don't downplay their disappointment, please. Let them know that your feelings matter to me. Show trust. Let them know that you have faith in them and boost their confidence by making them know that, see, this situation can happen again, but yet I still trust you. When they fall your hand, because they will fall your hand, trust me. I'm not saying they will always do things right, but I'm saying that boost their confidence, because trust me, when they feel disappointed, when they let you down, they actually beat themselves up. So there are times when you be a dictator, but please explain to them. Don't just set the rules and tell them why. I understand it's not all the time that you have the time to explain the why, but it's just important to let them know that it's because you love them. That's the easiest way. Give praise generously as it boosts their self-esteem. Hey, don't lose your teenagers to the wrong hands. Guys, see, they act like they don't care, but they really care. They want to know what you think about them. They really want your approval. I wrote it in my book, Rescued by Love, Why I Canceled My Wedding, that it was when I canceled my wedding 7 days event. I had to tell myself, greatness, at your age, 29 years old, you are still looking for your father's approval. And that's why you stayed in that toxic relationship till 7 days to the wedding. So please let them know if they have your approval. Don't let them get into an abusive relationship and now cancel their wedding. Please, it's too traumatic. Don't allow that to happen. So let them know that who is in control? Is it your emotions or is it you? I know there are times when they will fall your hand and you're like, oh, I'm going to, and you want to treat them like adults. I understand that you're like, I'll get back at you. I'm going to do tit for tat. But let me tell you the truth. See, they are less able to control their emotions than you. They are less able to think logically than you when they are upset. So you should be the one to separate your emotions from what is happening, to say, you know what? I feel this way, but I'm not going to allow my emotions to control me. Something happened with a billionaire. I was with this billionaire person. That person said something to me. We were having a very interesting conversation. I'm like, wow, I love you. And when I said I love you, I was like, oh, you love me? Let's have sex. I'm like, no. Yeah, but you love me. That means you want to. I'm like, no. Even if my body wants to have sex, I tell my body what I want my body to do, not my body dictating to me what my body should do. So leverage. Remember what I did, and if you have my Lemonade book, I shared how you should leverage your emotions. Don't let your emotions control you. There is something called emotional mastery, where you're the one mastering your emotion and telling your emotion that I will switch that emotion. I think I showed you guys that last week, where I told you correlation between your emotions and your thoughts and your actions. So when you want to switch it, switch your thoughts, switch that emotion, right? And finally, create time together, talk together, intentionally do things that you both enjoy together. See, these are the times when you can actually hear the things they are going through, because they'll be dealing with things that they are ashamed or afraid to share with you. And if you want to hire me as their coach, such that I am reporting to you to let you know, oh, this was happening in their lives. So, of course, still ensuring confidentiality and trust and all of that. But during the times you are having family time, eating together, watching movie together, all of these together, give them these are the times you ask them, what do you think? How do you feel? You know, these small talks, don't forget where we start from. Be observant, but not intrusive. Watch out for their mood changes. When they're telling you, I don't want to go to that place again, they are communicating to you. We are always communicating. So when they are in school, ensure that time there is improved language ability. You know, speak more formally with them, respect them in front of their teachers and their students and their classmates. You know, don't treat them like, oh, my child. Practice a two-way street and active listening. Make time every day to listen exclusively to them without distraction. Even if it is 5 minutes, but make it consistent. Ask open-ended questions, and these are the things I'll teach you in coaching skills training. Open-ended question is the way by which you actually help them to speak more. Closed-ended questions are questions that lead to yes or no. So when you're saying, how did your day go? And they say, fine. It's not open enough. So then you say, oh, fine. So what makes it fine? That's what open-ended question is. I'll teach you all of that if you sign up for the coaching skills training. Allow your child to have their differences of opinion. That you are a Chelsea fan does not mean your child should be a Chelsea fan. Let them be Liverpool or Man U. Avoid interruption, avoid lecturing and criticizing. You know, but this is something for when they are still toddlers. Just in case someone has toddlers here, they need to just very simple, spend time with them, patient, observe their body language, be attentive. If they're a baby crying, when they are crying, that's their own primary method of communicating. So also by reading books to them, ensuring that, you know, and that's the end of the conversation. Now, my final words and final thoughts to you is that however way your relationship has been with your teenager, can you still see my slide? It's like my Zoom has gone off. Can you still see my slide? My Zoom has gone off.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can still see it. Why start again?
Yes,
it's never too late.
It's never too late.
I can say is why start again? It's never too late.
Okay, so you can still see it. Really?
Yeah, but it's left now. It's gone now. It's gone.
Exactly. I saw that. No worry, I'll share again. So what I was trying to say, yes, that disappeared, but I'll just continue because of time. Thank you so much for staying on the call. Like, you guys are so amazing, you know. But when I was saying it's never too late, it's that wherever stage you are in engaging, I know Mr. John works with young adults, he's so passionate about them. I know Favor also is a mentor to them. I know Madishola works with young adults as well. I know Mr. Elias, you know, and Miss Ekwase have children, teenagers as their children, and they also work with them, right? But what I'm trying to say is that, just a second, I'm trying to start over. Sorry about that. When I say it's never too late, it's basically that it is never too late for you to actually build that effective communication with them, right? Remember Thomas Edison, which is the picture you were seeing on the slide, who said that, I mean, he made the light bulb moment, he got it right at the 10,000 times, and they asked him, why didn't you give up at the, why did you consistently, you failed? Trust me, you are not the only parent failing. When we do the workshop, the Becoming the Teenager's Friend workshop, we actually have a particular exercise that I always look forward to. I love that exercise a lot. And should I tell you the truth? Every parent is failing. That's the truth. So you're not the only one not getting it right 100%. You're not the only mentor that is not getting it right 100%. Be very patient with yourself. So it's never too late. And I put my Ludo game by the side of why it's never too late to start making it work. Now, when I was in secondary school, we had can you see the slide now?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I want to tell you my story of how I learned Ludo game, right? And I'll tell you, and I'll stop sharing briefly, and I'll tell you. So I had this senior in the first and secondary school. I went to a boarding. I finished in a boarding house, and this senior was, you know, when they say the person is flogging and dealing with everybody, and she'll tell you, "Come, let me spell your name. Oh, your name is John Samuel. What is the number? John is 1, 2, 3, 4. Samuel is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 10. I'll give you 10, 0." And she kept on trashing everybody. And guess what? I was just challenged. I said, "What's this? I am definitely going to play with this auntie, and I'm going to win her." And she said, come. Your surname is even long. Olorunfemi. I will so trash you that that's how she trashed me 14-0. My daddies, my mommies, ladies and gentlemen, everybody were begging me, "Greatness, stand up, oh, they don't beat you." I said, "I'm not going to stand up. I'm going to beat her." Guess what happened? At the end of 14-0, I had mastered her heart. I had mastered how to play Ludo. I've understood her strategy. I've also learned from her failure. Can you see what Thomas Edison said? He said, "I've just found 10,000 ways that it won't work." So I had learned how it wasn't going to work. Today, I can tell you for free, everybody that has played Ludo knows. Nobody has beaten me since that time, because I used to say that I learned from failure. I learned from failing. Does it make sense? So from that 14-0, it was 14-1, 14-2 till I beat her 15-1, and everybody started calling me hero. But that was because I was not afraid to start all over again. I didn't see failure as the end of it. One of the coaching philosophies when you come to the coaching skills training is that there are no failures in life. There are only learnings. And talking about failing and trying again, when I was 30, when I was going to be 30, I said to myself that I was going to release 3 books when I was 30. June 3rd is my birthday. And as at June 3rd, my books were not in house. None of my books. But as you can see, by that same year, August 23rd, I launched Rescued by Love, Why I Cancelled My Wedding, this book. And it was launched, my chief launcher launched it $200. Today, I've even gotten way more than that. But that was because I did not see the failure of, I wanted to achieve becoming an author at the age of 30. I didn't achieve it. I just said to myself, I might not have achieved it at that time. I might not have built an intentional relationship with my teenager at this point, but it is never too late to start. Today, I've authored 4 books. The Lemonade book, Rescued by Love book. I have 2 books that are free. When you get any of these 2 books, I give you the 3rd and the 4th for free. And they are 5,000 naira each. If you want to order any of my books, please feel free to send me a message. Finally, you can hire me as your coach or a therapist, for the month of April. I'm doing a promo. You pay me for 1 session and I give you 4 sessions, 75,000 naira. And I'll give you 4 sessions instead of 1 session. It's a new quarter, and at the beginning of every quarter, I usually do what I call the Refresh to Relaunch workshop. Now, what I have decided to do, this, what is it called? These graphics you're seeing, they are not the updated dates. My graphic designer had some issues, but I'm recruiting a new VA that can, such that we can have all of this tidied up. But the point is, everything is still valid. Now, if you pay for Catch Up to Finish Strong, you will get the replay of Refresh to Relaunch workshop, and you will get a workbook that comes with it. And it is just $100, 75,000 naira. And I'll be your accountability partner for the month of April, such that we are going to set actionable steps for your goal for the quarter 2, 3, and 4. And actionable steps, and I'll be on your case, like really be on your case. I've worked with clients across 32 states in Nigeria and 4 continents, and I can tell you that you are going to achieve your result, because it is not your money that is my reward. My reward is actually your own result or your transformation. So yes, you're just paying me the money to actually respect my time. So with just 75,000 naira, you get the replay of Refresh to Relaunch, and I would also send you the workbook, as well as ensure that we together will now set the goal to now say, what is the goal? What are the plans? How do we audit your success and failure model? What are the tools for resilience so that you can finish the year strong? The Bliss Readiness course will be starting from next month. It's an hybrid meeting for people that basically want to learn how to create, whether you are engaged, or you are preparing to be married, or you're married and you just want to know how to create that bliss. It's a 10-module program. All these programs have links that I'll be dropping in the chat box. And Saturday, I have a breakfast hangout. It's an hybrid meeting here in Abuja physically, or you can connect with us on Zoom. I know Mr. John has registered and it's in the UK. So please, if you know any unengaged and unmarried single person, it's just 2 hours program. They'll get value for their time. Too much value. Too much value. The venue is a serene environment. I'm going to be hosting a friend of mine. She's going to be sharing on how she moved from heartbrokenly unengaged to happily engaged on Wednesday, next week. And it's free for them to attend. So please, you can do a screenshot and invite them. So it's time for questions. Let's try and get this out of the way. Few minutes. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you stayed to the end. So question time, and please connect with me. I'm going to drop some links in the chat box. Connect with me on all social media platforms. I'll be very excited to connect with you as well. So does anybody have questions? It's time for me to take questions now. Questions, or contribution, or questions. Are we still there?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me listen. Based on what Coach said, let me listen to what you're saying. Sorry for cutting you short.
No. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm just
thank you so much for your the wealth of insights and everything. I really appreciate it. And one or two things to just add, which you said, is from how parents teach teens, mentors, and the rest can also be good is if we also learn to tell them the reason why things are done, because teenagers, children, they okay, don't go outside. They would want to go outside, but don't go outside. X and Y and Z is the reason why I don't want you to go. Then they now start reasoning. If I go, does it make sense? Does it not make sense? But if you just tell them, don't just do it, even any human being who wants to do it, that is one. We need to also communicate effectively. And secondly, we need to be ready for questions, because they will ask you so many questions, and some parents or some coaches, if they don't know it, they'll turn it around and say, okay, assignments for your thing. So that means we need to keep updating ourselves to be able to understand them. Because if you want to understand them, we don't just understand them just by just them, but we also have to go and dig deep. We have to also go and do so many things to also upgrade ourselves so that we can see the way they see. Like you said, communication is how the other person sees it. So if we are going to communicate, we have to first understand that person's perspective and now be able to relate based in that person, seeing the person in that line. It's just like we are empathizing with that person. We are looking at it in the eye of the person, not in our own eye, because I will be like, why is this person doing like this? But because I understand the teenager, like you said, you will go through the personality type. You will go, is this person visually someone that is visually good? Is it someone that is logical? Which we don't do. Most times, that was before now. In the past, most parents will tell you, you must be a medical doctor, you must be a lawyer. maybe the child has a passion for singing or playing with sand. What will some other parents do? You'll get them all these Legos and the rest to encourage them, but sometimes we kill their passion in not understanding them and not helping them to discover their talents. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that feedback. Thank you so much. Any question or any other contribution so that we can end this in 5 minutes max? Any question? See that I've answered all the questions in your heart so that nobody has a question. No question. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me. Please connect with me. I dropped the links to all my social media handles in the chat box. I also dropped the link to my Linktree. It has the link to my website. It also has the link to all the products that I have told you about. Please feel free to connect with me on all social media platforms. Greatness ATO or Greatness AT or Olorunfemi across all social media platforms. I'll be excited to connect with you. Thank you so much. I'm happy that we'll finish 11:40. Thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I would assume that we don't have questions and end the meeting right now. Are we good to go? Are we good? Okay, let me take a picture of us. Gallery view. Let me stop live stream.